Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Today I am here to start a I'm home alone and I'd rather talk to the camera than the abyss vlog. Today is February 14th, so happy Valentine's Day to those who celebrate. I personally do not, but today is the day that my parents head out for 4 days to Bend, Oregon, and I decided I would go ahead and vlog just because it just helps me a little bit with my anxiety, also keeps me from just sitting on the couch like a potato, because I'm like, I should do stuff, so I would have stuff to film. Will I actually do stuff? Maybe not. Maybe you'll just see me being a couch potato, who knows. But this vlog is gonna go through either Sunday or Monday. I haven't really decided yet. I guess we'll see where I'm at with my reading on Sunday. This is a 3-day weekend for me, so I do have Monday off. I think it's like President's Day or something, so it is possible that we go through then. But another reason I really wanted to do this vlog is because I am in a reading slump, and I have been in a reading slump for the majority of February, and it's starting to drive me just a little bit crazy. We did go really hard during Squash That series in January. January was a great reading month, great ratings, lots of books consumed, but now here in February we are definitely struggling to pick up books, and the few books that we have read have been kind of mid, so that has definitely contributed to us not wanting to read as much, because what we've been reading we haven't been enjoying as much. But that being said, I just really quickly want to go through, well, not really quickly, we're just gonna go through the books that I'm currently working on. Starting with audiobooks, I don't really have anything that I'm currently reading. I'm technically about 50% through a romance, but I've put that down for the last 10 days and I don't foresee myself picking it up. If I do, I will definitely talk about it. But an audiobook that I really would like to read this weekend is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. This book is actually on my February TBR, which I think I've only read one book off of, so we're not doing good whatsoever. But this is a relatively short audiobook. I think it's probably only around 4 hours, so I think it would be really great if I could maybe sit down, relax a little bit, and just listen to that, unwind a little bit, and just really absorb the story, because I have a feeling that this is the kind of story you don't want to just like only be half paying attention to while you're doing other things. But I will go ahead and let you know more about that book once I actually start it. As far as my physical reads go, I have finally started another nonfiction book, and I am 46 pages into this. You can see that I'm going ahead and tabbing it, and I am kind of hoping that I will go ahead and at least get another couple chapters out of this. I haven't picked it up for a couple days, or at least not since I think Saturday, so it's been a few days at this point since I picked it up. I think my trouble with nonfiction books is I feel I can't read them just anywhere because I'm tabbing them, and I can't really like underline while I'm like sitting on the couch and trying to keep the book from flipping closed and making sure my lines are straight and all that jazz. So sometimes you have to be in a very specific place where you can like lay your book on a table or something while you're reading it. But I'm sure I will find some time to get into this a bit more. So far I have been enjoying it. I will say that her writing is somewhat poetic at times, and sometimes it works for me and sometimes it's giving me I'm trying too hard vibes. But I have already learned a few things. This is written from two of the women who started the Black Lives Matter movement, so I guess that makes it a perfect book for February, though that's not why I picked it up. This was just the next nonfiction book that I wanted to read. In fact, I had kind of hoped that I would read it, you know, last year by the end of the year, but I don't think I have read a nonfiction book since like September. So super proud of me for actually picking this up, and hopefully we'll continue to make some more progress. Then as far as my fiction reads, I have technically 2 books on the go right now. I started The Balance of Fates by Raquel Raylan, and I got about 11% through that book. I was having a decent time with it, but I think because of my reading slump, it was just not the kind of book where it was going to get me out of that slump. So I have temporarily put it down. If I do pick it up again during this vlog, I will definitely tell you more about it. But the book that I picked up because I was like looking at my books, and I was like, which of you is gonna get me out of this slump? And I said, hello, 700 pages of smut. You are, you look like you're up to the task. And so far it has been working relatively well. I'm reading Pucking Around by Emily Rash. I'm forgetting her last name right now. But this is a hockey romance. It is also a polyamorous romance, and I am about 28% through that. So 205 pages into it. And I will say so far, I'm really enjoying it. So I was a bit nervous going into this book because, I mean, I enjoy a good smut scene, but I don't often gravitate towards what would be considered erotica because I think there should be a balance between the amount of smut and the amount of plot and character development and all that jazz. And so going into this book, I was a little nervous that the first stop on the road trip would be Pound Town. Luckily, I would say so far there's only been one sex scene, and one scene that was like a telephone sex scene, so it wasn't like an in-person scene or anything like that. So I was really pleasantly surprised by the fact that this wasn't just like jumping right into those scenes, and we've kind of been spending some time developing the relationships, getting to know the characters, building the tension. So if you have been hearing everyone saying, oh, this is just 700 pages of smut, and don't want to pick it up because you don't like when authors just jump right into those scenes, I will say that's not the case with this book. Now that they're together, I'm assuming those scenes are definitely going to increase, but I'll let you know more about that as I continue to read. But in this book, we are following Rachel, and Rachel is a doctor, and she specializes in hips and knees, and she is offered a temporary position. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it pretty much allows her to spend a year with a hockey team, and if they enjoy her, they can go ahead and hire her for a permanent position. And she has been placed with the Rays, and they are a brand new hockey team. Like, the ice rink hasn't even been completely built yet, and it is the first time a lot of these players are playing together. And when she arrives there, she realizes that one of their players, Jake, is someone she had a one-night stand with a few months ago, and someone she has been really thinking about a lot. Like, she feels like she had such a connection with this guy, but she still just up and left the next morning. And when she shows up and he sees her, he's instantly like, oh my god, it's my Seattle girl, because they met in Seattle. And he's like, I have been thinking about you this whole time. I'm so happy that, you know, we are here and we're together, and maybe we can kind of like get it going. We can, you know, start a relationship. And she's kind of like, whoa, pump the brakes. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like you, but I'm your doctor now, and I can't risk this career opportunity to start something that could be seen as inappropriate with you. So we had a good part of this book so far with him kind of like chasing after her, and her being reluctant to do anything to cross any of those lines with him. And at the same time, she is starting to kind of develop feelings for Jake's friend Caleb. And Caleb is the equipment manager. He used to be a hockey player, but unfortunately he had a career-ending injury, and so he is now the equipment manager for the Rays, and actually is her neighbor, and was the first person on the team that she ever met. And it seemed like they just really kind of hit it off from the beginning. Once again, they kind of had like sparks flying between them, and she's kind of like, I kind of want like both of you. And it seems like these two have kind of shared partners in the past in college, because these two have been friends for a long time, and they're like, okay, you know, we can see how that works out for us. And around the 25% mark was when the three of them were together for the first time, and we're kind of right now exploring some of their insecurities about starting a relationship, because in that moment they were like really just like hot and heavy for each other. They were just maybe not really thinking things through. They were just like living in the moment and just like letting their lust take over. And now that things have cooled off, both of the guys are like, okay, you know, she's acting a little sketchy about this now. Is it because she doesn't want me to be the third wheel? And so both the guys are like, hey, you know, I really like you, but if you want me to leave the relationship. And the other guy's like, what are you talking about? I think she wants me to leave the relationship. And she's like, I don't want either of you to leave the relationship. However, I think we really need to think about our careers and the impact that a relationship like this could have on it, because her father is someone in the spotlight, and because she grew up with a famous father, she was one of those, you know, the children of famous people who are just constantly in the tabloids and constantly messing up because they just don't know how to live such a life. So she has a lot of baggage and a lot of scandals behind her that she doesn't want to bring specifically to Jake because of his sports career. She's like, this could be a career ender for you, and I don't want to end your career or my career. So I'm definitely glad that they're sitting down and having those conversations and kind of trying to figure out how they can go ahead and move forward with this relationship. That's kind of where we're at right now. And according to the synopsis, eventually a third player will go ahead and join, and that is Ilmari. Ilmari is the goalie, and he is Finnish, and he seems to be someone who sticks to himself a lot. He's definitely set up boundaries with the other players that the other players are not willing to cross. We've had his point of view a few times throughout the story, and you can definitely tell that he's intrigued by Rachel, and he's kind of slowly making her part of his life in the form that she is becoming like his lucky charm, or he's like, oh, you sat next to me on the plane, you know, which usually I sit alone, but because you sat next to me, we had a, what was it? It's called like a blank out or a knockout, or I don't even know what it's called. A shutout? Is that what it's called? A shutout, where he like doesn't let a single goal pass, where like the other team scored 0 on him. So he's like, now you're my lucky charm and all that. So I can definitely see how their relationship is going to increase, because he is trying to hide an injury and she's like, you need to come in for a physical. And obviously once he does, I'm assuming she'll see that he's suffering from an injury that he's worried is gonna go ahead and bench him for most of the season, and they'll have to work together in physical therapy, be physical. At the same time, I think that the other guys, Caleb and Jake, they really respect Ilmari, and it seems Caleb does a lot of talking with him, a lot more than a lot of the other players. And there was a scene where they were out at a bar, and the players noticed that Ilmari was sitting by himself, and they were like, hey Jake, why don't you go ask him if he wants to join us? And when Jake does, and Ilmari says, yeah, no, I'm not interested, I'm on the last chapter of my book. And I was like, relatable, a guy who reads, nice. So sorry, I can't join you. And Jake was like, why do I feel like I just got like rejected by like a girl that I asked out? And I was like, I think you might have like a little crush on him and want him to like hang out with you, which is totally fine. But that being said, I am enjoying all of the characters so far. I'm really enjoying the pacing of the book. I don't feel like I've read 200 pages. We'll see how I'm feeling by the end of the book, if I'm like, okay, 700 pages is too long. But for now, we're going strong, and I will continue to keep you up to date on any sort of reading that I'm doing. But for now, I am on my lunch break and I'm very hungry, so we're gonna go ahead and make us probably a salad. We'll see if I have all the ingredients that I need for that, and then it's back to work for the rest of the day. Wednesdays are always meeting heavy. Like after lunch, I have an hour-long meeting with one of my teams, and then I have a 30-minute meeting with one of my other teams, because I'm technically on a team but I'm helping out with another team and have been for the last like 7 months. So I have to attend the other team's meeting despite the fact that I don't do any of their workloads anymore. It's just me going to meetings that I don't have to go to, but that's corporate life for you.
Sliding doors, just wanna know you more. I hope you wanna be with somebody, spending all of the night moonwalking, and with the view she could see her building. Try to tell her I know I feel it. Keep me floating, I'm on my back. Slow me down when I'm living fast. You make me wanna be with somebody, doing things that I usually don't. Find my way through the hotel lobby, make the same when I'm on my own. All my friends think I'm with somebody, doing things that I usually don't. Find my way through the hotel lobby, make the same when I'm on my own. And it's the end of the night, feel like you're dodging my eye, but then you're right by my side. Tell me it's all in my.
All right, so my cat licked my leftovers. I went to the bathroom real quick after, doing the dishes and wiping down all the counters. And then I come back to the kitchen and he's on the counter, which he's not allowed to do, licking my fried rice. And there's no meat or anything in this. Look, there he is. There he is. The criminal. So now I'm trying to figure out if I should throw it all away or if I should just like scrape the top layer off, because honestly, that's kind of a waste of food, especially since there's cashews in there and cashews are expensive. So if I don't finish this vlog, it's because I've died, because I ate food that my cat licked. Oh my gosh. This is such a bad habit of his that needs to break, but we're not wasting food in this house, so we're gonna decontaminate these leftovers as best as we can.
Away
me and Loki are here to finally do another check-in. So it is Friday evening, technically. I think it's almost 5 o'clock. So I haven't checked in with you for a while, and I actually don't have that much to update you on because I was sick, like really sick. So if I sound a little rough, my throat is still recovering a little bit from some vomiting I may have done. Luckily not too much, but enough to kind of mess me up with my throat. I feel like I've been kind of coughing all day as it tries to repair itself. But that being said, yeah, I got really sick Wednesday night, very unexpectedly, and spent most of yesterday in bed, sick to the level where I couldn't even read. I barely could even like watch YouTube or anything. It was really one of those days where I just kind of tried to sleep, just to sleep and not be awake and dealing with all the stuff that I was going through. So did not have a good time, but I am feeling a lot better today. I actually went to the gym with my parents because they're here, because that's how sick I was, that they actually had to come home because it was a whole ordeal. I'm not going to go into it, but I am recovering, and sent a message to my doctor to make an appointment with him to kind of talk about it and see what steps we can do to prevent something like this happening from in the future, because I think it was very much tied to my chronic illness as well as my anxiety disorder. So I thought I was kind of managing a lot of that stuff, but I think the last month or so I've been realizing that, especially with my anxiety disorder, I've not been managing things very well at all. So this has been a bit of a wake-up call, but I still wanted to go ahead and continue with this vlog. I didn't want to give up, even though the direction of it is very much changing into just a long weekend vlog at this point. And as far as reading goes, like I said, I didn't read much. I think I've read maybe like one chapter or so since I last checked in with you when it comes to pucking around. I'm on chapter 43, page 267, which is 37% through this long AF book. I will say I'm still enjoying it so far. When it comes to the smut scenes, I will say they're not overly detailed. I mean, they're definitely like explicit, but as someone who has read quite a bit of smut, this is pretty mellow by my standards, which, considering how much quantity of smut there's supposed to be in this book, I think is going to be good, because so far the smut scenes haven't been like excessively long or with details where I'm like, oh, I didn't need to know that kind of situation. So I think that, considering there's going to be so many of them, the fact that they're kind of shorter and less detailed is good for this situation. So no complaints on that front. I would say they are still very much in the stage of figuring out how this relationship is going to work between the three of them, and I'm still having a good time. So I will continue to try and read that and let you know about it. I also wanted to mention that I read another chapter of my nonfiction this morning. It took me like forever to read this chapter because my brain is still kind of recovering from its explosion that I did this weekend, but really enjoyed this last chapter. Definitely had a lot of underlining that I did in this book and some annotations that I made. So chapter 4 is what I read, Magnitude and Bond, and I think that had a lot to do with family members, her father and her older brother going to prison. Very impactful, especially when it comes to the war on drugs and the war on gangs and the steps that they took, that the police took, which seemed to be tearing families apart, ruining futures, and if anything, increasing gang activity, because they were criminalizing these young black and brown boys at such a young age that by the time they became adults, they couldn't vote. They had a criminal record, so probably finding jobs was not going to happen. They probably spent a lot of time out of school. Also, their entire neighborhood was in a way under attack by the police force, which was very military level at this point. So yeah, they formed gangs because they're like, if you're going to bring an army in here, we're going to form an army as well. Not saying gangs are good, but I'm saying they may have found them necessary at this point. So by fighting gangs, it was very much like creating more gangs and obviously taking resources away from the public, from public education, public resources, not having any sort of public spaces for people to hang out, and putting all of that money into the police force has definitely worsened these areas. And I'm not having a good time reading it, but so far I would say that it's in a way saying things I was kind of surface level aware of, but it's just bringing it really to life by showing how this individual woman was impacted by that. And yeah, I'm having a good time reading it and am learning a lot. And if you're looking for a good nonfiction, I highly suggest this one. But that is my update for now. I think I'm probably gonna just chill and do some reading, and then we'll have pizza tonight. We're gonna make our own pizza. We're not gonna make our own dough. We're not that fancy. But we bought some dough and we'll put some toppings on that, and then we'll probably chill, maybe watch a movie, but we'll see. And I probably won't check in with you until tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be my filming day. Hopefully my throat will have fully recovered at that point. I will be filming my mid-month wrap-up, which should be relatively short considering how little I have been reading. And then I'll be doing my spring TBR. So I actually have my winter decorations. You guys are on my main bookshelf here. That's usually behind me when I'm filming sit-down videos. So I think tomorrow I will bring you guys in and redecorate these. I don't really have spring decorations. It'll mostly just be me taking down the winter decorations and rearranging the books to fill the blank spaces now that those decorations are gone. So that'll probably be the next time you see me. Alright guys, so I just finished filming my mid-month wrap-up, and I want to take a quick break before I film my spring TBR. And also I would like to not have my winter decorations up. I am well aware that it is still winter. In fact, there's still like a tiny bit of snow left outside, because I didn't tell you this because it happened while I was sick, but it snowed quite a lot here, but it has been melting over the last day or so, and it is time for these decorations to make their way back to the garage. That being said, if you take a look at my shelves, I think for the most part I will keep them relatively the same, except for these rows right here, because this whole area and this whole area, so about half of each shelf, is 100% decorations, and so I need to fill that. And I'm looking at my other shelves here and I'm like, these are going to be super empty if I bring a ton of books over there. But I do have an idea in my head, so I'm going to go ahead and run outside and grab my decoration tub that I can throw these in, and then I will go ahead and see if I can execute that and how I feel about it. So I will probably have to go ahead and rearrange those shelves once I'm done with this one, just so they don't look like they have giant empty spaces in them. So this is what we have. Like you can see, I didn't really end up making any changes to these three. The TJ Klune shelf, I feel like I'm never happy with, and as I add more books, it's just going to become more and more of a pain in my butt. I did decide to take this book off of the shelf just because I needed more room, and I figured if there was any books of his that I should take off, it should be the problematic one. So this one is going to go onto a shelf that isn't seen as often in my videos. And then I went ahead and moved my Heaven Official Blessings books over, and obviously I had to turn out volume 4 with the best cover ever. And I have my Black Cat candle and another Black Cat candle over here. And then I just moved these bad boys from over and kept that pretty much the same, and then these were the same. So now we need to turn our attention to this shelf, because obviously I just took 8 books away from here, and so I'm just gonna readjust this real quick so it looks better. Not super happy with that, but I can't just pull books out of thin air, so I guess I'll just have to actually read and get out of this reading slump so I can add books to fill this, because I did actually like the shelf. Oh, I don't know what direction to move. Okay, I did actually really like this shelf when it was completely full, so we are going to attempt to get back to that so that there's not this gap here, even though it has a lovely, I don't know where to point my finger, or it has this lovely photo of my family. But you know, it is what it is. Rearranging shelves, especially like after a unhaul, is always a little bit messy. We did the best that we can, and as we get more books and get rid of more books, it will be ever fluctuating, and that is totally fine. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do now is just change so that I can film my next video, and it looks like I didn't film it on the same day, except for the fact that my makeup and hair will be about the same. And then we will see. My mom's baking a cake right now. We may or may not leave the house because I think today is the last day. It's not supposed to rain, but that is a plan for now. And if not, I will actually do some reading. I will say I did some reading this morning. I think I read a few chapters of Pucking Around, and just don't have much to say on it because it's a contemporary romance and I'm still having a good time. And that's about it. I will say that even though they are together now, there's still not a ridiculous amount of smut. And I will say that as someone who has read a good amount of it, but I don't love books that have too much smut. I want there to be a good balance. And for me personally right now, there is, but I'm only 40% through the book. It could always change, but that's what I'm saying for now. And I will check in with you later.
Spending all of the night moonwalking, and with a view she could see her building. Try to tell her I know I feel it. Keep me floating, I'm on my back. Slow me down when I'm living fast. You make me wanna be with somebody, doing things that I usually don't. Find my way through the hotel lobby, ain't the same when I'm on my own. All my friends think I'm with somebody, doing things that I usually don't. Find my way through the hotel lobby, ain't the same when I'm on my own. And it's the end of the night, feel like you're dodging my eye, but then you're right by my side. Tell me it's all in my mind. You make me wanna be with somebody, doing things that I usually don't. Find my way through the hotel lobby, ain't the same when I'm on my own. All my friends think I'm with somebody, doing things that I usually don't. Find my way through the hotel lobby, ain't the same when I'm on my own. On my own.
Hey guys, so it is Saturday, or no, just kidding, it's Sunday. It's Sunday, and I'm about to make my roasted chickpeas because I noticed the ones that I had have gone bad. They started getting moldy, and that's on me because I made 2 cans worth of chickpeas the last time because I was like, oh, I go through these so fast. And then this last week or so, we for some reason have had just a ton of leftovers that I need to eat, and so I haven't actually been eating my salad as often, and so the chickpeas have they've gone bad, and I feel really bad for wasting food like that. So we're just gonna do 1 can this time to make sure that we don't have them go bad. All right, so I'm gonna drain these and rinse them, and then I'm gonna let you know update on my reading. All right, so I have officially gotten to the 50% mark of my book. So I'm at about page like 370-ish, a little like 367 I think was what I was at, and so I just wanted to give you a update on that. I am still enjoying the book. I am kind of starting to worry that the book will be too long because I mean we are almost 370 pages into the book and we're just now getting to the halfway point, which is a little concerning. I will say that Omari, the 3rd member of the team, hasn't yet really joined the party, but they have had the discussion that she is feeling something for him, and so it is definitely within the realm of possibility that she starts a romantic relationship with him. And one of the things I do like about this book is the fact that they are doing a relatively good job of communicating. I will say that Jake and Rachel are better communicators than, say, Caleb. He's very much like a brooding, quiet, mysterious kind of guy, but I think that that may be potentially changing based off of the conversation that they just had. Also, they kind of let him take off his muzzle a little bit when it came to the type of sex that he likes to have. He's definitely kind of a dom figure, and he was able to explore that with his partners for the first time. And I think that will definitely have helped take down his walls a bit more. I will say that one of the things I like about the communication is that they are, especially the guys, Rachel really doesn't have a problem with this because it's really obvious that the guys want to be with her, but the guys are having a little bit of problems with accepting the fact that she wants them as much as she wants the others. They kind of are struggling to believe that they are all equal in her eyes, and that there's no hierarchy or anything, or there's no weakest link going on. There's not one guy who's most likely to get pushed out or anything along those lines. And now with Ilmari being a potential partner, Caleb and Jake were friends before, and so this was maybe unfamiliar ground, but also they were doing it with someone that they trusted, and now someone that they don't know as well is potentially coming in, and I think that had everyone a little bit nervous. But I think that Rachel's doing a really good job of just being like, hey, I'm really communicating what I need, and I've been communicating what I need since the very beginning, and if you're not okay with that, then this kind of needs to end. You know, she doesn't want to drag them along or anything. She's like, she isn't the kind of woman to be with just one person. She's not going to be the one you get married to and have 2.5 children with, you know, picket fence, puppies galore, all that kind of jazz. And I just think it's really good that she's just continuously reminding the guys of that throughout the story, just to be like, hey guys, just a reminder that, you know, we in a way belong to each other, but also I'm not your property or anything like that, just like you're not mine. So that is good. I will say that the sex scenes became a bit more explicit and have some stuff in them that I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a huge fan of overly detailed sex scenes, and they've gotten a bit more detailed, and I don't need fluids involved, you know, like I get it that they are, but like let's not mention them as much as they are being mentioned. That's always like a bit of a turn off for me, especially when it comes to like saliva and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to know about you spitting on anybody. No, thank you. Cajun seasoning. And that being said, I think some of the sex scenes, just the last couple, were, especially the last one, was a bit long for my taste, but I think that that sex scene was, like I said, kind of Caleb taking his muzzle off and taking control and just kind of being able to express his sexual desires with his partners for the first time. So it was a bit of a game changer sex scene, so I can see why the author spent more time with it. But I mean, that being said, I can see that we are maybe getting to the part where people start saying that this is a very smut forward book, but still, that was only 2 sex scenes since I last checked in with you, and we have been reading for probably at least over 100 pages or so. So still nothing overwhelming, but I have the feeling that as more people are involved, that they're just gonna get longer because you gotta like explain what everybody's doing instead of just 2 people. So that's totally fine with me. I'm gonna try these. A little salty. A lot salty. All right, well, hopefully once they're baked, that salt will mellow down a little bit. But yeah, so that is my update on that, and I will probably do a bit more reading once I pop these in the oven. I need to finish my thumbnail for tomorrow's video to be uploaded. While I was rewatching the video, I noticed that there was a bit of a mistake in my editing, so I had to fix that and then re-export it. So that's why it's so late in the day, because I think it's, what is it, almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that will be the last thing I do today, and then I will probably try to focus mostly on reading today. And I would also kind of like to focus primarily on reading tomorrow because I do have it off. It will be Monday, I think President's Day, but I do also kind of want to go ahead and edit my last video. So we'll see what I end up doing, but for now, that is my check-in, and I'll talk to you later. Good morning. It is Monday, the last day of this vlog, this very random, possibly messy vlog. Just know this vlog encompasses the state of my mind right now. But, you know, I'm proud of myself for powering through. I honestly kind of considered scrapping this vlog, but you know what? This is my life sometimes, and that is totally fine. But it is, I think, a little bit after 10 o'clock. I did sleep in quite a bit. I slept in until 9, but we stayed up, or at least I stayed up kind of late. We watched the second Hunger Game movie, Catching Fire, because earlier this week we watched, what is it called? The Ballad of the Songbird, you know, the prequel. And then we ended up watching the Hunger Games, and then we watched Catching Fire last night. So we'll have to watch The Mockingjay at some point to finish up our rewatch of that series. But I did do a little bit of reading yesterday, not quite as much as I wanted to. I am challenging myself today not to go on social media whatsoever. I went on Instagram once today just to post about my Monday video that is up now, and I'm not going to go on for the rest of the day because I feel like I've just been spending way too much time on social media, and it's not good for my anxiety, despite the fact that my brain tells me that we should just aimlessly scroll to help with our anxiety, which it doesn't, so my brain doesn't know what it's talking about. But that being said, hopefully I have more time to read. So far today, I went ahead and edited my Friday video, so I don't have to worry about that anymore for the rest of the week. It was a super short video, so it didn't take too long. I think it was only about 15 minutes of content in it. And then I watched a YouTube video, but now I'm going to go ahead and sit down and read some Pucking Around, probably a chapter or two, and then I want to go ahead and maybe sit down and actually eat. I'm not super hungry yet because I just recently woke up, but I'm going to read another chapter of my non-fiction book today, but mostly I'm hoping just to do some reading. I may do some editing on this vlog, to be honest, just to see the state that it is in. But as far as Pucking Around goes, I think I gave you an update yesterday, but I have no idea how coherent it was because I was multitasking and like people were coming and going, so I think my mind was just like not fully on my update. But at this part we are definitely focusing a lot on Rachel and Ilmari's relationship. She and him have gone on a quick trip together for medical reasons, and we are learning a lot more about him and some drama that he has with his family, so I am interested in reading more about that. And it definitely seems like the two of them are about to sleep together. Like, I'm pretty sure once I pick up this book, it's gonna be sex scene central. Rachel did inform Ilmari about her current relationship status, and at first he was like, no thank you. You know, people always say goalies, they are kind of people that work on their own. While they are part of the team, they are also separate from the team. And so Caleb and Jake warned Rachel, they're like, he's not gonna want to share. And that was definitely his initial reaction, but he is just so drawn to Rachel that it seems like he is probably willing to overlook the fact that she is in a relationship with two other guys if it gives him the opportunity to be with him. And I really like him as a character. He's very much like a stoic Viking kind of guy. He's stoic, different in the way that Caleb is. Caleb is more like edgy and mysterious, while Ilmari is more reserved. I don't know how to describe it. It's a different vibe, but he's also just a really gentle soul, despite the fact that he's just this hulking figure. And I think a lot of people, including me, love a guy that's like ginormous and looks really intimidating, but he's just like, he's got a heart of gold. He will like donate a lot of money to charities, especially when it comes to charities that work with the environment, specifically sea turtles, which as a lover of sea turtles, I can appreciate, because he has a really good understanding of the fact that his career is detrimental to the environment. He and the team travel a lot, so there's a lot of, you know, use of jets and whatnot. Taylor Swift, pay attention. And he also understands that the stadiums produce a lot of waste, and so he is doing what he can with his vast amount of wealth to kind of counteract the damage that his career choices cause. So I can respect him for that, and so can Rachel. And I'm just really interested in learning more about him. Both he and Caleb, their walls seem to be coming down a little bit more. Jake has always been pretty much an open book since the beginning, but I'm just really interested in learning more about the characters when it comes to romances. I like to know my characters quite a lot, so I'm having a good time with that, and we'll look forward to, hopefully, I mean, I definitely don't think I'm gonna finish the book today because I probably have around 300 or so pages left at this point. We still have like a full regular romance length novel left to go at this point. This book is so long, but I feel like I was considering putting it aside for a couple days and reading something else, but I don't want to. So even though I feel like I've been reading this book for a long time, it is what I want to be reading right now, so that is a good sign. But I am hoping that reading a chapter of my nonfiction book early this morning will go ahead and break it up a little bit as well. But yep, that is my update for now, and I will probably check in with you later today. I doubt I will wait until the final wrap up of this video to check in, but we will see how much reading is getting done. So it is 2 in the afternoon, and I have been reading for most of the day, and I'm probably gonna take a quick break, eat some lunch, maybe watch a show if I have something recorded right now, either that or watch some YouTube. And I just wanted to check in real quick. I am 61% through Pucking Around. I don't really have anything more to say on it since my last update, but I did go ahead and start The Deep by Rivers Solomon, and I got exactly 25% through that because I got like an hour through it, and it's like 4 hours long. So I listened to that while I was doing some coloring. So this book follows a young mermaid-esque person who is the, I suppose you could call them the historian of their people, in which they hold the rather traumatic history of their people, because these people are descendant from the children that were born of slave women who were thrown overboard on the slave ships. And so obviously that is a lot of trauma for people to hold. It's a lot of pain for people to hold, and our person has been doing this since they are 14. I have to admit, I don't know how long they've been doing it, but they have kind of decided that they can't do this anymore, that holding all of this trauma is killing them. And it seems like about once a year or so, they hold a ceremony where they share the memories with the rest of the people so that they can remember, because the people, despite not wanting to hold this trauma, still kind of want to know who they are, where they came from. And this ceremony kind of fulfills that need. However, once they have given the memories to the people, usually they would then have about 3 days of relief where they don't have to hold the memories, but our person has decided that they are going to go ahead and flee. And so I will be interested to see how the people react to the fact that they have been able to live in pretty much ignorance for their entire life, and now all of a sudden they will be trapped with all of this knowledge. To see how this changes them, and I'm also interested to see what our main character does, because as far as I know, they have to leave and they can't come back, otherwise the people will go ahead and force these memories back onto them, and they are fairly certain that this would kill them. So while I'm not 100% invested in the story, because we're only an hour into the story and this is a very short book, and I'm not a short book girly, so I'm a little nervous about how much I will like it. I will say that I am rather intrigued by where the story is going. I don't foresee myself reading any more of that today, so these will be the only thoughts that you get on it for my vlog, but hopefully I will finish it by the end of the month and you can see my final thoughts of it in my February wrap up. But that is my update for now. But once I eat lunch and take a little break from consuming literature, I will probably jump back into reading Pucking Around, because I really do want to make a good amount of progress in that book. I would really like to get to some other KU books and not just read this book all month long. But I will probably check in with you next, possibly to wrap up this vlog unless something crazy happens. But yeah, that is the plan for now. Book lovers, so I am laundered and ready for bed. It is a bit after 9 o'clock, and tomorrow it is back to work. So I am here to wrap up this vlog. I did do a bit more reading today and I got to exactly 70%, so page 518 in Pucking Around. I kind of at some point today made the goal of wanting to get to 70%, so I'm glad I was able to do that, especially since we did end up watching part 1 of Mockingjay as well. So continuing our rewatch of these movies, having a good time, also having a good time with this book. I will for sure say that I now understand why people say that this book is so smut forward, but I feel like it really didn't start getting that way until after, like around the 50% mark and after. And so you still get plenty of time to get to know the characters and develop their relationship before things get too hot and heavy. Is it becoming a little too smut forward for me? We may be getting there a little bit. I do like a more balanced book, and so I do find myself sometimes wishing that a certain conversation didn't end in a sex scene, but it is what it is. I'm still having a fun time, so we probably still have about a little over 200 pages to go, but hopefully I can finish that soon because I have other KU books that I would like to read this month. As far as the other books that I worked on during this vlog, I obviously read a little bit in my nonfiction book here. I think I read about 3 chapters this week, and so I'm really happy with the progress that I'm making in this. I'm really enjoying this read. It is well written and really impactful. As you can tell, I have plenty of tabs going on in here, so I will slowly but surely continue to make my way through that. And then the only other book that I worked on was The Deep, and I got a quarter of the way through that, and I already kind of told you my thoughts about that so far. My thoughts are kind of like mid, but the story has captured my attention, so I'm looking forward to continuing with that. So the goal of this video was kind of to try and help me get through my reading slump a little bit. It was also supposed to be a home alone vlog. That didn't go quite as planned due to my health taking a bit of a dip, and my mental and physical health taking a dip really didn't help me with overcoming the slump. But I do feel like I'm definitely enjoying reading and wanting to read a lot more than I was at the beginning of this vlog. So I think the reading slump is slowly but surely leaving me. So I would consider this vlog a semi success. If anything, I was just glad to get to spend some more time with you guys. It's been a while since I vlogged, so I was happy to go ahead and do that here over the long weekend. That being said, if you are still here, thank you so much for sticking around for this possibly messy, incoherent vlog. I really appreciate it, and hopefully my next vlogs will be a little bit more put together, and hopefully I'm a little bit more put together. But it is what it is, and I just really appreciate you guys. And as always, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.